Are there two tiers of justice, as Republicans claim?
No, not at all. I think this is a sad case. I find this whole thing, just reading about it, especially with the women testifying about him. You know, this guy is a drug addict. He's a drug addict, and he's troubled, and he's probably going to lose here. And I find it more just a sad case of families in this country. The politicization of it seems odd because it's just sad to me.
Ryan, what about the argument that the fact that Hunter Biden is on trial shows that the justice system, despite what Republicans say, is in fact even-handed?
Well, I think that if it were really even-handed, you might have seen prosecutors address the Foreign Agent Registration Act. Think back to Paul Manafort, who was Trump's campaign manager the first time around. Before Robert Mueller came around and prosecuted Manafort for a FARA violation, it was actually quite rare to see them happen. And in this case, Hunter Biden may well have violated the Foreign Agent Registration Act. That's the kind of thing that would presumably come up if you saw the same level of scrutiny, but you didn't. So I think that there's reason for a lot of folks on the political right to think, well, wait a second, are people really being treated in an even-handed way?
Lulu, is Hunter somehow getting a sweetheart deal here?
It's ridiculous. The fact of the matter is, this is clearly a very tragic, sad case. If you have had an addict in your family, the stories that have come out about his drug abuse, how it has affected the people around him, and frankly, what people have said about what he's actually being charged for in this case, not the other ones, the tax evasion, et cetera, but this case, he had that gun for 11 days. He is a first-time offender. The gun was not used in any criminal capacity. And in fact, many Republicans are saying that this case is actually kind of not really legitimate. So on the face of it, I don't think you can equate what happened to Donald Trump, who is a former president, with what is happening to Hunter Biden, the son of the sitting president.
Jonah?
Yeah, so look, I agree he's an addict, and addicts do terrible things. The law, which Joe Biden as a senator actually made more severe, forbids addicts from buying guns.
Yeah.
And maybe that shouldn't be the law. There are arguments about that. But if you're
arguments from Republicans.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fine. But my point is like, it's what the law is. And frankly, I think you can actually make the argument the other way and say that if Hunter Biden weren't Hunter Biden, this case never would have been brought, because they never bring these cases as standalone things. Yeah. It is one of these weird things that if you are a celebrity, for want of a better word, you get treated by the justice system differently and sometimes more harshly to send a message. And so I don't think the Trump case should have been brought. I think you can make an argument that this case shouldn't have been brought. But at the same time, the two tiers thing actually kind of works the other way. Donald Trump had a better time as a defendant than a normal person would, and so is Hunter Biden.
I can't imagine a more divisive experience for the Biden family, as you've all alluded to. Hunter's ex-wife and Beau's widow called to testify for the prosecution, while Hunter's daughter testified for the defense. Still no word whether Hunter will take the stand. Kara, should Hunter have spared his family all of this, taken a plea deal? According to legal experts, he most likely would have gotten probation. The worst he would have gotten is a few months in jail, and he would have spared his family all of this.
Yes, he should have done a lot of things differently. Every step of this story is for the people who have suffered, all these, especially women, including Jill Biden. I think the idea is that she shouldn't be there. She raised him. Like, this is a family tragedy is what it is. And Hunter Biden has made bad decisions the entire way. And you can't just write it off only to drug addiction, but it's clearly was fueling this whole thing. He's a junkie, and he is taking it out on his family, and that's what's happening.
He's taking it out on his family.
He is taking it out on his family.
I want to pick up on that with you, Ryan, because it seems to me that the arguments against taking this to trial, given who he knew was going to be called, are so strong. Do you think that Hunter is counting on a Delaware jury to bail out a Biden?
I think that is not an unreasonable supposition. I think that could be the gamble that he's taking. This is clearly someone with a very high appetite for risk. But I've also got to say, I really think that if he were tried for FARA violations, he would be at way more risk. This guy could have gone to jail for 16, 17 years.
You've made that point.
I mean, I think that he lucked out already.
And incidentally, he could still be. The whole reason that we're getting this trial is because the prosecutors said you're not getting a get-out-of-jail-free card.
That's when I'll say one tier of justice. Absolutely. You can mark it down.
Okay, we will mark that down. But I want to get back to this question of whether or not he's counting on a hometown verdict, because it raises the question about the Bidens' embrace of Hunter. The president was out in public with his son just before the trial started. The First Lady has been in the courtroom almost every day, and Biden issued this statement: "I am the president, but I am also a dad. Jill and I love our son, and we are so proud of the man he is today." Kara, I understand this is a family affair, but are the Bidens trying to tip the scale?
All families do this in these trials. They try to present this person that way. He is the president. I think he's appropriately saying he's on trial. He's saying, I support. If he didn't say it, they would attack him for being a terrible father.
And
it's
also,
like,
by the way, he
here.
has said, he was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but I mean, but he said it. I mean, and he said he would abide.
Well, what was he going to say? He has to say that.
Well, I don't know. President Trump says all sorts of things about, you know, trying to go after his enemies. Yes, but I mean, but he was asked directly, and he has said that he would not pardon his son if he gets convicted. And so, I mean, this is his child, and he is facing a very terrible thing, and I think any parent would do the same.
Jonah?
Yeah, I think Abby Lowell, Hunter Biden's very good lawyer, is trying to go for a jury nullification strategy to get someone, at least a hung jury, to say, you know, to have pity on this guy. The problem is every single time they try to make any of these kinds of arguments that give a juror something to hold on to, the prosecution just blows it out of the water because the evidence is overwhelmingly against him. And they had trouble selecting a jury. A lot of people said they couldn't be impartial because they thought Hunter Biden was such a scummy guy. I don't think that's the jury pool that is going to give him nullification.